Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we're learning Masechtas Menachos daf Samach Tes. We are going to begin on Samach Tes Amud Aleph, the second line from the top. Bo Yomi Barcham. So he asked the following question: Shtei Lechem, with regard to the Shtei Lechem, which is brought on Shavuos, Hanitza Sharia o Chanata Sharia? Is it the Hanotza, which is the time in which it's blossomed, which is an earlier stage, or only after it is completely ripened? So what is the din? So hanatza, so my hanatza, my chanata, what are these? So ilema hanatza de peri v'chanata de pera, the blossoming of the fruit and the ripening of the fruit. So hashta hashrasha sharia. So the fact is that even if it's rooted, says Rashi, tfua hanishtares, the grains which have already taken root, koydem oimer, before Pesach, alpha bishul godl kum, even though it didn't grow at all, it's mutter sharia hanatz v'chanata maboy. So when it comes to this, there's no question. El hanatza the ola v'chanata the ola. We're talking about the blossoming and the ripening of the various leaves. Says Rashi, mihavi hanatza the ola bepersa elon. Does that count as though it's like rooted? The fact is, it's not the fruits, but it's talking about the roots themselves. So does that considered the leaves have grown? Is that considered rooted? So mihavi ki ashrasho lo take. So boy Rabbi asks, we have a series of questions here. So boy Rabba Bar Rav Chanan chitin shizarn bekarka. Let's say you have some wheat that was planted into the ground. So oimer matirin o ein oimer matirin. So will the oimer matir it or not? So hechidami the ishrish, if it was already rooted, so tinina, we already know idolo ishrish tinina. If it wasn't rooted yet, we also learn what's that dinan. If it was rooted before, so therefore it's linked to this year, and therefore the oimer will matir that grain. If it hasn't rooted yet, so the oimer is not going to be connected to that. Rather, you have to wait until it roots, and once it takes root, which will be until the next Pesach, is when it'll be matir. So we already know whether it's rooted or not, what the din is. So what exactly are we asking about wheat that's planted into the ground, what the din is? So our answer is the chatz dinhu vezrinhu kaidem oimer, that you harvested it and then you planted it before the oimer. Says Rashi, delo sharinhu oimer dishtakid. So it was not already permitted from the oimer from the year before, but it was not rooted at this time either. So the oimer comes the question is, can you eat from this before it's hashrasha? The fact that it was taken out is a kilo, like it was already put into a jug, and therefore it is mutter. Misharinhu oimer odilma batul gabiara is batul to the ground. So yeshul hedoin. That's a question which we don't have an answer to. It's going to be again a series of questions. Question TB21. Gemar boy chitin shezamber karkavul hishrishu. Eat karkadami o command de manchi bekada solmai nafkamina. So one is clearly l'inyan chadash, if it's right, if the oimer will is a matir. Okay, so that's definitely going to be one. So this is again is TB21, but there's three answers to this. That's number one. Yesh lehenoi no, ein leheno no. Is there ona or not? Because we know there's no ona, like overcharging, like by a shtos, a sixth. That's not by karka. So behechidam ilay medir malay shadi bay shita, that you should plant into the field Says Rashi, Zerati bekarka sheshes kurim, that I planted 6 kur. Also sahadi, witnesses come, Yamr Deloy Shadaba El Chamisha, that you only put in 5. We know that the din of oinah by a 6th, or it's batal mekach if it's more, the mekach is kind less, but that's only when it's not something which is counted. But if you could clearly discern, they said 6 and it was 5, you could clearly see it, then we're going to say even the smallest amount is not going to work. Even less than Kedeo Naz Chayzer. So that can't be the case. Elwa di Armele Shadibe Kideboila. You say that I did that which was necessary. Notice I put the right amount of seeds into this particular ground. So over here, we didn't have a davar shebaminion. It was like, oh yeah, I did the right amount. Saying, no, you didn't do the right amount. So, on this is the question. Is it onah because it's considered like it's removed, and therefore it's like it's in a kli, which means it's like mataltal, and there's a din onah on it. Okay, that's answer number 2. Let's see what I wrote. Onah 1-6 and onah b'karkos. Okay, good. So that's second question. So we know when it comes to karka, ein nishboyin al shibud karkais, that if there's a shvua, we don't make a shvua on land. So the question is this grain that was again taken out and then put it back, so what's the din? Is it considered like karka or metalblon? So the Gemara says like this: Kinishadi b'kadadami u'kamatalto dami v'nishboyin alehin. Since it's like it's metaltalin, so therefore you make a shvua. Well, dilma batahu agavara, it's like connected to the land. Never come a karkoi damu v'nishboyin alehin teku. Okay, that was question TA 21. Good. TB 21, I should say. Okay, so make sure there's no questions on that. So now boy Rami Bar Chama. Rami Bar Chama poses another question. Chitin shibegloli bakar. Let's say you have wheat that's in the dung of cattle. As we understand, it's the way for cattle to eat wheat, as well as, and that's the typical thing. Other animals like a chamor and gamal, they typically eat barley. So this is referring to bakar. Okay, that's why it uses that. V'sarin shebegala behema. That's why it says barley. Mao. So all Rashi is doing is explaining why does it use these different animals, because that's usually the feed for a bakar, for cattle, is wheat, and for the other animals it's usually barley. So Mao, what's the din with regarding this wheat? So lamai. So the question is this wheat that's found in the dung of an animal, is that considered to be an eichel? So tanini, we're going to learn that. Chitin she'barei bakar v'sarin she'begol behema chish v'lehin lachila. If you have a machshava achila on it, so in matamit tumas eichlin. It's not matamit tumas eichlin. However, loktan lachila, if you mamish pluck it out of the dung, matamit tumas eichlin. So we see clearly that when it comes to tumah, we already know if you take it out, then it's considered to be an oichel. If it's still there or not, elul menachis. So when it comes to the din of menachis, the shaila is: can you use this wheat that you plucked out of the waste of an animal for a holy carbon like a mincha? So pshita deloy. Of course you can't, because the pasuk says hagrivin lefichsecha hayiritzecha o hayisa panecha, which we basically say that whatever, if you're going to be mockery of something, it's got to be of high quality. You're not going to bring wheat that was once in the dung of an animal. So it might mean like this: the natinhu, that you plucked this out, zarinhu, and then you replanted it. So it's now disconnected from the animal and its waste. The question still is: can you bring a mincha from those seeds? Mishum de mesusa, who is the whole reason why you can't do it, because it's repulsive, but kivan dezarinhu, since you replanted it, azda lemisiasiahu, its repulsiveness has gone away, so therefore it shouldn't be a problem. Because every time that you plant it, or in this case, it went through the digestive tract of an animal, that caused the quality of that wheat to not be the same, and therefore, it's weak. Take question 9. So the kasha is regarding menachos, specifically if it was replanted and then taken out. So do we say that its growth is kosher for menachos because it's different? So it's not misus, it's not repulsive, but it has weakened. Okay. Boy Rabbi Barchama. Peel shabola kfifa mitzris. Let's say you have an elephant that swallowed up this wicker basket of Ikea derech beis hareya, and it ended up extracting it through its beis re'iyah. Mahu, what's the din regarding this basket? Do we say that let's say the basket was tameh before, and then it swallowed this, and now it went through its back end. Now all of a sudden this basket's not tameh. Something can become tameh even once you have a machshava that's going to be completed. Or it's not going to be elevated or removed from its tuma if it became tameh unless you do some type of action. Says Rashi, nishbru taharo. Let's say you broke it. There's no real change. The shlema kia, it came out whole. So therefore, in that situation, the tumah should still remain. Tzricha the bola hutzin, that it got swallowed up as fibers. Vavdinhu kafifa, and it was made into a kafifa mitzvah. So mi havi ichol. This digestive basket that came out, is it havile, as we continue with Beis, kikli galolim? Does it have the status of kli galolim or kli adama? The in mekablan tuma. Maybe at that point it no longer takes upon itself the din of tuma. The remark kli avan v'kli galolim v'kli adama in mekablan tuma. Lo medivir tayv, lo medivir sefer. Right. So maybe that's what this basket's like. Odimo loy havi ichol. Maybe we're not going to say that, and therefore itaka could be tameh. So tipshit lo maha. Diyomer ula mishum ramashemem and Yehustuk Maisei brings down the story ubolo zeivim shnei tinaikais. Tragically, you had these wolves that consumed 2 little children. So the question is, what was the status of the end product after it was the bodies were digested? So v'tihiras abasar, and they matered the v'tihiras abasar. He matered the basar. Says Rashi, Alma havi ichol. It's like completely digested. Otherwise, why would he say it was tahar? Shani basar derachich. He said because when it comes to basar, that's different because the basar is very, very soft. So therefore, you can understand that there would be ichol when it comes to that. However, in our situation, where we're dealing with this basket, it doesn't necessarily digest into the body just like human flesh would. It sounded a little bit dramatic the way I said it, but that's the truth. So v'liv shit miseifa. Okay, but maybe the seifa could help us out. It says v'tamu es atzamos. So he said that the bones that came out of these wolves are tameh. So it must be because there is no ichol. So maybe that's a raya. So he says no. Shani atzamos the akshi tvei. Bones are very, very hard, so they do not digest. However, wicker basket is like maybe somewhere in the middle. The question is, does it digest? Okay. Bani Rav Zera. So chitin shiyardu b'avim mahu. Let's say you have a ship that's full of wheat, and it was sucked into the clouds of a storm, this wheat, and then the wheat descended down with the rain. So am I. If you want to use this wheat for mincha, am I low? Why not? What's the problem? Why can't you use it? Like, what's the whole issue over here? It's nothing wrong with this wheat. El shtei lechem. The question is regarding on Shavuos using the so over there, right? So we're talking about shtei lechem on Shavuos. How do we interpret this pasuk? It says seichem that when it comes to the wheat for the lechem, shtei lechem, it has to come from Eretz Yisrael. Maybe in this case, the fact that it flew up to the sky and landed down, so this is not considered to be chutz la'aretz wheat, and therefore it's allowed. It has to actually come from the ground from Eretz Yisrael, which implies if field of namuloi. Also, the clouds not. Right? So where it says mi'ika ki haigavna, what is this? Does this ever happen? What that wheat goes up into the sky and then falls down? Yes, this has actually happened before. Kid aditaya nechisale roim kizma chiti betosa parsoi. So it was this Arab merchant that it landed on his field wheat, which was the amount of 3 parsai. So this taka does happen. It did at least sometime that went up and then came down. Okay. So it doesn't seem like we really answer that question. Let's move to 10. So menachos is mutter. The shtei lechem is a shaila because the pasuk dakumai shtei lechem says Moshe Seichem, and maybe this will not constitute being Moshe Seichem. Boyer Shimon ben Pazi Shiboilis, with regard to stalks, she haviu shlish. A third of it had already grown. Rashi says, why does it say a third? Is the chashiv gamar pri? That's already considered to be as like complete. Okay, kaidim l'oimer. So it grew a third before the oimer. V'akra, then it was uprooted, and v'shasla l'ach oimer. But it was replanted after the oimer. So what happened like this? It grew a third before the oimer, and then you ripped it out, and then replanted it after the oimer, right? So again, and Rashi makes an important detail over here, that you ripped it out before the oimer, right? So it grew a third before the oimer, you ripped it out before the oimer, right? And then you replanted it after the oimer, right? And maybe it grew just a little bit. Rashi says, mashahu. So the question is, what's the status? Do we say it's mutter, or do you have to wait now since it grew a little bit? The oimer didn't matter. You have to wait till the next year. So that's the basic kasha. So, as the Gemara says, before the oimer, then you replanted it afterwards. And it grew just a drop. Do we go after the ikr, which was it grew a third, and therefore the oimer mattered it because it came? We have to wait now till the next year. So Timshit Leimaha, Diyamu Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan, Yaldnish Shisavcha Bezikno. So let's say, we've had this before, also you planted that of Arla, so Rashi says, the shell Arla that you planted, Uba Perois, fruit crumbs, Virkiva Bezikna, and you graft it with older trees. So Rashi says that le'achar shesimcha b'masayim shel heter yoser mishahoyasham min iser. So there's this 1 to 200 ratio. Says the Gemara, uba perois afil hoysim b'masayim aser. Even if it's an extra 1 to 200 ratio, it's still considered to be batal. Why? Because basar ikr as lina, as Rashi explains, right? So if we go basar ikr, so what happened in this case? So the reality is that it grew, and therefore it's considered to be arla, because the ikr of it grew. It doesn't matter that it grafted with an older tree, and you can say, well, so maybe it's not Isser Arla. No, it's still Asr. The Yomi Rav Shmuel Menachot Rav Yonasan, Betzel, when it comes to an onion, Shishaslu Bekerem, you plant it in a vineyard. The Necker Hakerem, you remove that it from the vineyard. Fil Haisim Osayim Asr, right? So again, because we go Basar Iker, and the Ikers, it was grown in this capacity before. So where it says he gufa kama boile. This is not so posh, because mivship shitul hu upon the Basar Ikazlin. Is it true we always go Basar the Iker loshno kul loshno chumra, whether we're lenient or strict? O dilmo svikum sakul, they're not sure. Chumra minlo kul lo amrin and teku. So maybe you can say, oh, they're makel. They'll say we go Basar the majority, even lakul, says Rashi, kagain shiboilis by the Omer diaz linen be Basar Iker. If you go Basar the Iker, right, as we pose this question, right, if you have this stalk that by the Omer it grew a third, and we go Basar that, so we say it's mutter, havi kula. It actually could be a kula. Why? You boil hamden ad oimer haba, right? Because we're being lenient, and you don't have to wait till the next year, right? So this is a kula if you go Basar the Iker. However, in the case of Arlen Kilayim, it's actually going l'chomra, right? Because we said that when it comes to the din of Arla, that since you go Basar Iker, therefore becomes Asr, even though it was grafted to a zakin tree. And for the same matter, when it comes to Kilayim, that it's considered to be a prohibition with this onion that's mixed in with this vineyard, it's still considered to be Asr, because we go Basar the Iker, but maybe only go Basar the Iker when we're going Lakula, L'chumra rather, but maybe not Lakula, and that we end off with a Teku. Hey, we are going to stop there. No more questions there. Let's see. TB22. Nope, we didn't do that. Question TA19. Heichem Shkachas La Truma B'Mechuber Adkan.